you have to turn around and not want to be mad at, or regretful or vengeful or upset at this person. You need to stop and take a pause and say, this person, thoughts process behind this is because of their experience, their life led them to these thoughts. Well, mine are different.
Stay focused, get ready now. For real, get ready now.
Good people, I am here with a very good friend of mine, Bertina Power. She is what we call in Chicago a entrepreneur, lifestyle entrepreneur, where she's involved in construction and real estate and has recently written a book. And I really wanted to kind of bring her on The Blueprint today to talk about, hey, how do other folks from our community get the opportunity to be involved in what we kind of sometimes think is the low-hanging fruit in our communities, the construction and the real estate, which we have a lot of, but quite frankly, we're not all taking advantage of that the way we should be. So, on The Blueprint, we're here to figure out those steps of how to get our people to take more control of our communities, invest in our communities, so that we can have stronger futures for our children. So, Bertina, maybe give us a little bit of feedback, talking about how you got started, and I know you went to Hampton.
I did. I'm a Hampton graduate.
All right
yes,
now.
yes. HBCUs in the house, always.
I didn't go to college. I went to the trade.
Okay. Hey, to each his own.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
In my
But
house,
it's a community
it was right.
college out there with my name on it.
Listen, and in my house, it was a mandate. So it was
Okay,
a mandate.
that's what's
Yeah,
up.
it
That's
was a
what's
mandate. It was a blessing in disguise too. So, but to how it goes, you got to go back. And I love what you're talking about, which is legacy. I'm all about legacy, right? Like, we just as a people do not think past, not even just past your kids, like down to your great grands. What could I be doing to set them up today?
Right.
So I love this idea of the blueprint, and that way you can lay it out as to how to take care of your family for generations from now. Absolutely. Because a lot of times what happens is, especially what I found in real estate, is that the houses are not properly, the papers aren't done correctly to pass them on. And then, the kid is the family child or whomever gets into the house, but can't do anything with the house. They can't even sell it. They can't pay the taxes.
That's probate when it goes into probate,
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, I heard
and so
that's a monster.
That is a monster. And there are just certain things that we could do if we just educate ourselves on them. So legacy goes back to my house. My mother's mother and mother all bought land down there in Arkansas. You know how our family comes from the South.
The deep South.
Yeah, from the deep South. So they were down there buying up land then, right? I don't know if it was the 40 acres and a mule concept, but they were buying land, owning property and everything from a long time ago, which then became a part of what my mother did and became a part of something she always talked about with us.
That's
So
the
she
legacy.
put
That's
the
your
legacy. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
I didn't pay attention to it. Now sometimes we don't pay attention to it like we're supposed to.
We need to pay attention to what's going on.
Right. But then after that, I caught wind of what it meant. And from there, it has been a bug. She sort of wanted me to go into mortgages, and I go, I don't really like that line of the real estate part. I like the properties. I like them. It's like changing clothes, dressing them up and designing them and rehabbing them. It's all fashion. It's all, how does it look? How to make it pretty? And I have a background in modeling, so of course that just makes it all nice.
You extra fancy. That's something I left out. I didn't even know you was out there, had your legs on the runway. All right now.
I did. I'm 5'11". You can't see that, of course, sitting down. But yeah, so 5'11", and I used the height. Everybody thought for basketball, but no. I used it for modeling.
I know, that's right.
Yes.
All right now. So how did you transition? Was it the real estate that really kicked you off to kind of start this journey about where you wanted to be in life as an entrepreneur, or? So
I went to college, as I said, at Hampton, and I had a job waiting for me, an internal audit at Hartford, Connecticut. Yeah, in Aetna Insurance in Hartford, Connecticut. So
what'd you go to college for?
So my degree is in accounting.
I never knew that either. I need to write this down because clearly I don't take good notes. We didn't do a pre-interview, so we figured we knew each other so well.
My degree is in accounting. So, when I got to college and I realized that the accounting was one throughout all the business majors. You know, it was the one that every business major had to take. Well, then I knew it was a foundation, but I didn't know I was setting myself up for foundational thinking and belief and work, which led all the way up until where we are today, but it was.
Okay.
So having that degree, I knew would be the basis of at least me knowing how my money was going to be working in and out, knowing taxes. Foundation. I thought I was going to do a job, and I did. I got a job, and I went to doing it. I don't think I lasted 6 months before I was like, oh no, this is corporate America is just not for me. I don't know what it is, but I'm ready to pluck every eyebrow out.
Were you like a bull in a china shop maybe a little bit?
No, I don't think so. But what happened was internal audit is usually a scary job. And so when you come in, everybody's like, oh my God, the auditors are here. Oh my God, the auditors are here. They're really scared.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, okay.
I would agree with that. I think most people would agree with that.
But now when Bertina showed up, because Bertina would come in and be like, hey, Sean. How you doing, right? And so Sean's like,
no, you trying to trick me. Right. No, you trying to trick me. Ain't nobody that happy.
No, I am being my own personality, which is still what it is today. So, no, Sean, I'd come in and I'd say, you know what, Sean? I'm here to take a look at some of these things. Do you think you can help me? And so then I would get everything I needed and I'd be done really fast.
And that's when you send them to jail.
And I don't send anybody to jail.
They send themselves to jail if they cheat.
If they keep the checks in the drawer, if they are using the helicopter,
right,
the private helicopter for your personal use. Yes, Mr. CEO.
Okay. We got some more stuff to talk about, I see.
Right. Those are the things that we were always looking for.
Audit. Okay, I got it.
You got it. So, but I did a 6 month, so they had a rotation. And a lot of companies, especially like one as big as Aetna Insurance, had what they call an REO department, the real estate owned area. So they had an intern rotation 6 weeks or something. And I went in there to do auditing on that. And I don't know what it was, but I think that was like this click that went back to the stuff my mother used to talk about and made me think, oh, this real estate, okay, all right. But meanwhile, I moved to New York, was living there and having a good time, modeling and traveling.
Wow.
Traveled to Paris, London, good places. And
I can't wait to watch the movie. I'm waiting on the movie to come out.
No movie, no storytelling here. But after that, I had to come back home. So I came back home, and when I came home in the late 97, in the late 90s, I had to get it, like I need a job. So then it was just like, because what I could do in New York very easily was not the same.
It wasn't transferable.
Yeah, it was not
and the family's here.
Yes, right. And the family was here. This is where I was born and raised. And so I come here and I get a job. Now, it turns out I didn't know something about myself. And that I was, according to most, I was some kind of natural salesperson. Right? I had the right energy or the right charismatic way. I don't know, but I didn't know. So when I was offered a job to do sales, I was like, but that's a commission. I need a check, right? So I didn't take it. And I went and took a check job.
Okay.
Which happened to be with First National Bank of Chicago, which is now Chase. And they had a department called Bank at Work. Now the best thing about it was it let me come out. So here, Livewire. They doing direct deposit of payroll, and they want all their employees to sign up. Now, see, it seems like nothing today, but in the late 90s, people were not, right, they were like, no, I need to see my money. I don't want no direct deposit, right?
Y'all just trying to get in my account and look at my money. Y'all ain't trying to fool nobody.
Or, my old lady don't know I'm making this kind of money, so I don't want, I got all kinds of stories.
She gonna be able to see everything if it all comes to the bank account.
Listen, so, of course, I'm in my community, which is definitely different than the other reps that were working with me. So needless to say, it was a fun thing, and I learned that I really did have a go-out personality. Sales, I like being in the streets. I did not like being in the office. So I was able to double my income because I had a base and then a commission base, right? So it was like, and I was just out.
Things starting to click.
Listen, it was starting to click. And because I was the bank at work, then I also had brochures on mortgages, on the savings and stuff, so people were coming up to me asking about real estate and getting mortgages. It just became a conversation. Well, I was still living with my mom when I came back, and I'm ready to get my own, and I go to buy a condo. And that process changed it all. I was like, oh, I can do this.
Like
instantly, I was like, how much is her check? And this is what we did. Oh yeah, I can do that. Quit my job.
quit your job.
My job right after I bought the condo. Now, some part of that, I don't know.
I don't know
who told me to write roll.
Yeah, who bought real estate and quit their job.
I'm not gonna put that out there. You might want to stay at the job a little while until you get it going. However,
this is advice at your own discretion.
Right. But I had the tenacity to doing it, and I was looking for a developer who also had a brokerage. This is when I realized I sort of wanted to learn the construction and go into construction. I had some deep thing about being a top construction.
It's the boots. It's the construction.
I don't think it was the boots. I think it was
the tube belt.
I think it was to say I built that.
I
think it was just like I built that. It wasn't the tube belt. It wasn't any of that. My dad built stuff all the time. I used to watch him do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would just build stuff. And he would always dress in suits and ties, and then he could flip it and then build a bookcase and, do all this stuff in the house. And so I thought that was pretty cool. And me being the oldest, I was right up under him.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of my brothers. Girl. I was daddy's girl, but I was there.
You got to see everything. Yeah.
See and ask questions and do everything. Yeah. So I did that. So, right. And again, of course, he told me what I didn't know, that my grandfather, his father, used to build houses down there in Arkansas, too. But he used to build them by taking a pen and drawing in the dirt for the day and saying, this is how we're going to build today.
That was the blueprint back then.
That was the blueprint on the ground, new one every day. Like, this is what we're doing. And his education, I don't believe, came out of grade school. So he was out here building houses.
More about the legacy.
Exactly. So I think it's in my blood, personally.
Okay. And you're a builder by nature.
Or just the real estate in general. So I had one side buying real estate and owning it, and another side building it. So
put those together.
Put it together.
Yeah, you got the real estate.
You got exactly what I do now. I help build, I help sell.
All right now. Yeah. So do you feel as though you're more inclined in kind of to do one versus the other?
I thought I could try to not do one and just do the other, but it doesn't work.
Okay.
And I think I sort of designed my business. So I'm a serial entrepreneur is what my new term is.
I have heard that.
Yes, serial entrepreneur, yes. Right? When you don't just do one thing, when you have all these multiples. So I have multiple businesses of which one feeds into the other. So the the real estate helps find the property.
Right.
Okay, so let's flow this blueprint. Real estate helps find the property, okay? Mm-hmm. Then construction can rehab it.
Gotcha.
The development company owns the property. And then when it's time to sell it, it goes back to the real estate.
Gotcha.
Now, I don't have my own real estate company, but I am, affiliated with a luxury real estate brand, so that makes it real easy.
Oh, I'm sure that's a nice sale, a nice commission with
yes,
luxury.
Listen, luxury is great, but it doesn't mean that it is not the same amount of work.
But I always hear that, being a real estate agent, a broker, is not as easy as people make it seem. And I think you're even doing some training of, new agents and things like that, because I think sometimes we kind of estimate or underestimate the actual work that you have to put into being an agent so that you can be actually successful. Right. Because I'll admit, sometimes when I see, hey, you want 7% commission, all you're doing is listing my property.
Right.
Like, I can do that.
Okay.
I'm like, and
tell me how that works out.
Exactly. So a lot of us don't really understand, what goes into actually being an agent and what's happening behind the scenes. So maybe do you have maybe some advice?
So interesting you say that. When I used to teach a class, it was one of the things that we talked about with 183 things a broker does on one deal. 183 things.
So now that 7% don't sound so bad.
It doesn't sound so bad.
Okay.
So at 183 things, tell me how it works out for you that you have your own job, Mr. Sean Harris, right? Like you were doing that all day, every day. So then you want to do what I do full time, which is 183 for your one deal.
So even if I want to do it on the side, let's say I want to sell some real estate on the side, I still got 183 things I got to do on the side.
For one deal.
For one deal.
Trying to explain. Right.
Per
Don't
deal.
forget that part. One deal. Not like 183 things that
What-
I'm
what-
successful.
I mean,
Just anything from ensuring that all of the documents are signed. I got to get those signed. I got to get pictures taken. I've got to get the marketing material done. We've got to upload, create websites and pages. I've got to share that information with other consumers, as the public consumers, as well as the other agents and my peers. Then I might have to host a brokers open, what we call that. So what is that? That's like a few hours, right, on one day. But what's the prep for that? Getting the house clean, making sure we have some snacks and some drinks, and then the people are there and sponsors. And that's just that. That's not even the open house. And that's not the calls that come in for me showing them every time somebody wants to see it at 10 o'clock today, then 6 o'clock tonight, and Saturday or Monday at 3 in the afternoon.
Right, because you're on their schedule.
And you're on their schedule.
You're
a lot
on the
of
buyer's
times.
schedule.
Yes, so a lot of times you're on the buyer's/agent's schedule who's showing it, right? So the two of them collectively get together, and then they have to reach out. I've got to manage all those emails, calls, and texts just from
Okay,
that.
I see.
Okay?
I see.
And that's just before we get a contract.
So
All that is happening
Right.
up to the point where then somebody writes you an offer. Now, what if you got 4 or 5 offers? Now I'm dealing with 4 or 5 agents, all these same things, and trying to put all of this together to present to my client about what it is. I had to make a whole spreadsheet just to do that. In the market that we're coming out of, and I was in the one in 04 and 05 where you got multiple offers the moment you put something down, that is even more. It seems like we might get our money faster, but it requires even more work because you have multiple people coming at you at the same time or putting in offers. So just trying to help your client. And you have to remember all the laws and rules associated with ensuring that you are protecting your client, that you are getting them the best deal that they can have based on their needs and wants. And it's not the same for everybody. Somebody, who's investing wants the best deal. Somebody who's selling wants the most money.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I got you. So what type of, I guess, personality, what type of person do you have to be successful? Or is it a certain constitution that you have to have?
Is there a blueprint for the
What's
best
the
agent?
what's the blueprint?
Is there a blueprint for the best agent?
and then you throw into the mix different markets, right?
Yes.
Then you have commercial versus residential,
Yes, versus
and then you have the
investors.
investors versus
And
the
then
single.
landlords.
Yep, and
Yes.
then you just get straight land deals.
Right.
So I mean that's a full plate.
That
So
is
is
a
it
full plate.
better to just really kind of identify your niche based
Yes.
on your personality
Yes.
and kind of what your strengths are?
Well, you definitely want to have a niche. You're right. You want to find out what area what works for you. Where do you want to be? I mean, you might have to trial and error it because if
Okay.
you haven't tried it, you don't know whether you'll do it or not and
Okay.
how successful you'll be. But you do have to know yourself. You really do have to begin to understand yourself because real estate and entrepreneurism, period, is about being committed, detail-oriented, and professional all at the same time, right? So you have to be able to manage all of that at the same time, I think.
And
in order
manage
to
your
be,
client.
Right, you're talking about the blueprint of the agent first,
Yeah,
right?
okay,
So
yeah.
you need to know you, foundation, before you start adding walls
Yeah.
and
Let's
drywall.
scribble that in the dirt
Right,
somewhere.
yes,
Somebody
it's
give me
like-
some dirt,
Right.
so I
Let's
can
get
write
the
on.
foundation. And as I said, in everything I can talk about real estate. I bring it in. I say you got to get the foundation. Just like I did with
Yeah.
my book, or I know we're going to talk about later. You got to have a foundation in certain things because it is just what a foundation does. It's solid.
Right.
It helps secure. Right now, would you want me to sell you a house on quicksand?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
I think
and
we
so,
all know that.
and
You
so,
you trying to trick somebody. You that auditor.
no, I wouldn't want to sell you a house on quicksand, but therein lies what happens sometimes when people aren't prepared.
Okay.
I do have a mantra: stay ready, so you don't have to
Get ready. We all know that.
Yeah, I know
right?
we all do it, but some
But
people
we
don't
don't
think
always
about
practice it.
and we don't practice it.
So you're rocking and rolling with real estate. I mean, it's kind of hard to, do these showings and things like that. And, I know you got a family,
Right. And well, I've been doing this 20 years. My little ones are 11 and 14, so they're not so little anymore. And my 14-year-old.
So how
is
did you
6'3".
manage that?
Yeah. Well,
Because you might have some mothers out there, right? That this is something.
lot of mothers. Tons of mothers.
It is.
and fathers.
And fathers. The fathers better be there taking care of them kids. We know that.
Right.
So
That's why I was talking about being
that?
able to manage. You have to
Yeah.
time manage. You have to have the details. You have to understand what your commitment is to it, because is it going to be missing a soccer game or going to do this showing?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, for all things, and I started very early with my oldest son. As you know, my youngest son, my communication with him is a lot different. But with my oldest son, I started very early explaining to him the kind of mother he had.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of relationships, work relationships, personal relationships, mother, son, father, daughter, whatever, its expectations are not met when they go awry. And so I speak to expectations all the time as more upfront than at a later timeline. I try to speak to them early. And in doing so, that sets up a situation. I told him, you don't have a mother who works from home. You don't have a mother who goes to a job from 9 to 5 and, is done when she's done.
Right.
So expectations, right? You want cookies for the bake sale day, you need to let me know 2 days ahead of time, because I'm going to the store to buy. I'm not going to try to make them.
Getting his mind right early.
Getting his mind right.
Getting the expectations understood early.
Early. So he was clear. He understood the role and the job that I had, but that management of things, you can say, just because they want to see it at 6 o'clock, I'm not available. If I was showing somebody else, I wouldn't be available. So if I'm going to go and be at the soccer game, I'm unavailable. But we also in our business have peers. When you work for organizations, I can say, hey, call up one of my coworkers and say, do you have any time? We sort of, we might pay them to go do the showing for us, a small amount of money. I think it's small, but just enough of that time and gas money, right? And go do it for you.
More of a favor.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And but just thanking them for that. And so you have avenues and resources. We're going to come back to that when I talk about that in the book, right? There's a whole chapter called The Power of Resources. And the key is to recognize where your weaknesses are and get resources to solve that.
I love it.
Yes, I know you do. But yes, the power of resources is key. So in order to do that, when somebody's looking to do it, they have to understand their strengths and weaknesses, and then fill it in with resources or have them readily available for you. Right. Okay. So, at the time, early years, I was married, so it was easy. But you got to figure that I didn't have my first son until 2007 when the market turned.
2008.
I closed my office December 31st, 2007. Had just had the baby December 14th of that year, 15th or whatever it was that year. And so by the end of that month, I was closing that office because the whole thing was turning, and it was just like, I can't, right? So that's what happened.
So, and with real estate, we know, we've seen this twice now with these recessions, right? Mm-hmm. The market just basically getting turned upside down.
Right.
And now it's been great for a little while. Yes. But now something is happening again.
Well, it is happening, but it's not
rates are going up.
Yeah, but this, interest rates used to be at 8%.
Right.
Okay, so great. So know this, that interest rates used to be at 15% years ago. So we've gotten spoiled and wanting a lot of money for a little cost. Okay, let's just say what that is. Yeah. And I get it. But as I told agents that I've trained for years, and any client I talk to, everyone needs a roof. You can put me up there with morticians and OBGYNs.
So what do we do now? So now COVID, we're at the tail end of COVID. You got the new monkeypox going on. That's but people aren't as scared anymore. So is real estate like loosening up now?
The properties are definitely staying on the market a little bit longer than what it was during that time, but not longer than what the norm is.
But
when we are in what we call an arm's length transaction, basic selling arena in Chicago, you mentioned this earlier, markets do make a difference. Why? We have seasons. So we are heading into what would be our cold season and our winter. So a lot of people get this, I don't want to move in cold and, in the snow. But then there's still people who are going to be doing all those other things. I had a baby in a snowstorm, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like those things.
And some people might think they get a deal when it's cold.
Some people might think that they can get a better deal when it's cold. But so all those things are still happening. Okay. And, you have to plan for that. The thing about this business is just that. you need to be planning at such a consistent basis so that no matter all these ups and downs, your business is taking the smaller bumps on the road and not the big potholes
Trying
that
to
we
keep
have
it
here.
smooth as possible, yeah.
Trying to keep so here, Ford Motor Company, they put something on the one line and it comes out as a car on the other line, right?
Yeah.
What if you stop putting the parts on? At some point, the last car is gonna come off the line, and then you're gonna look up and go, I got no more business. And that's what a lot of real estate professionals wind up doing all the time. They steady trying to get all these parts back on, when if they had been getting the parts on all along, it would just keep rolling stuff off the...
Keep the assembly line fed so you can
Absolutely.
keep rolling through the end.
So you can keep the family fed.
Right. So now interest rates are going up, and from what I'm hearing, prices are coming down. We all had a nice little piece of equity here, when those interest rates were low, and
this is when somebody comes to you
supply
and
was
tell
low.
you to sell, and then you say, no, I'm not selling now. Okay, well, you missed that boat.
Is it over?
It's not
over?
that it's over.
Is it
And
another
you just
boat coming,
said-
Bertina?
You just said.
Bertina,
you
is
just
it another
said-
boat coming?
You just said that you have witnessed 2 times in your lifetime.
So it's coming
So
back.
it could be, yes. It's just
coming
what is
back.
going to happen. It's
So
just
we
what's
can
gonna happen.
depend on the fluctuation.
You can depend on it. You can expect it.
Okay.
You can always expect it. I mean, if you follow just the basic stock market, do not up and
The
down and
trends are
up and down. Yes, up and down, up and down. But as I said, real estate is a foundational set of investment. It's a foundational investment for your personal home or business. The reality is this. When you are owning this piece of property, again, you can pass it down. You can leverage against it during these times and pull money out. There's only so many types of tools that allow you to do that. But the key is what happens, I think, when interest rates get low and the numbers go up, people buy outside of their means. And that's what really happened in 07.
You trying to tell me black folks buy outside their means?
So,
Look.
if you are buying outside your means and the lower interest rate makes it so you have a larger buying power, that's what happens. See, some people don't even understand what the math is. They hear interest rates are going high and they're going low. Do you even understand what the math is associated with this? So all it really means is you have more buying power. But do you need to have that?
Is this my window? Is this my window?
But if it is, then how are you going to ensure that you can pay for it?
And capitalize off of it.
So what
To
it
not-
just really
because
means
of the-
is stay within.
Right.
Stop trying to be like the Joneses, Sean. Stop trying.
Right.
Or the Harrises. Don't stop trying to be like them. They
Or
big
the
baller
Power.
shot callers, right? I'm just saying. Don't try to be like them. Be you. The power of you. Hello.
Well, let's talk about the power of you. So, Bertina Power, the power of you. I
Yes.
get it.
Right.
So, what's your superpower?
Well, as it turns out to be, it's the 2 Achilles plus 1 that I've had my entire life. This voice,
All right.
my height,
Bam.
and
Bam.
I've come to learn this outgoing personality.
Yes.
My mother tells a story that she couldn't let me out in the yard because I would just run up to perfect strangers and start talking to them. I'd talk to them in the elevator. I'd tell everybody what was going on. We having a baby when my little brother, was in the womb. So
Prime to get kidnapped.
that's what she
Ready.
said.
Somebody go get Bertina.
She was like, somebody gonna kidnap this child. You understand what I'm saying? So when difficulty came and when you get shut down and when depression comes and when suicidal thoughts come and then when you have a baby with severe cerebral problems, when you have a marriage that is ending, when you have what seems like I need to leave this place,
Yeah.
then those foundational things that you had bring you back out slowly but surely. So the first chapter is the power of the mindset. So when I'm in this hospital and they're telling me 3 to 6 months that this baby is going to live, my mind goes into a complete shock. And what brought me out of it was my mind telling myself, you the mama, you the mama. If anything's getting ready to get done, you the mama. Your mother's here. They're not going to let her take the baby. Your daddy, wants no parts of this. And the father, well, you know how men are with regular babies, so. Right.
Yeah.
So nothing there. All I could come up with was, you the mom.
It's on you.
It's on you. You got the power system because you the mom. So get up and get it together. So my mind is what's telling me this. Then followed by the words, which is chapter 2, because there's power in words. So when I got up from that, I said, let me tell you what we getting ready to do now.
You got yourself together.
Barely. I wasn't there, but I had enough of what I needed. I had been watching the doctors, coming to rounds, listening to them, and so then I had assessed myself the 4 things we needed to do, not now, right now. Now, I have no degree in this. We just discussed what my degree was in.
Accounting.
Yeah. And by the time I left, everybody was like, so you a nurse? Are you in the medical field? I go, what part of real estate do you all not understand? I was just like, I'm in real estate. I don't know anything about medical term, but I had the capacity to consume information, regurgitate it, understand it at a quick speed. So I knew immediately that they were giving him artificial food, you know, through IV. Yeah. And I was like pumping this breast milk. I was like, this is God's cure of all things. So I need y'all to get that in those veins and IV. That's first. 2, he's been laying out on the hospital bed. I have not been able to hold him because they had all these attachments and they're trying to work on the swelling of the brain to come down and everything. Man. A lot. So it was, I need you to start letting me hold him. He needs to feel my heartbeat, hear this voice that he's been listening to for almost 9 months. And then the third one was they were giving him a drug to keep him in a comatose state. I said, I'm going to need you to reduce that because I need to know what I'm working with. Right. See, this is what the power of you is about. It's like you have it, you know, and if you make sense in your mind, then you should articulate it. And you should then be, you know, make people act on it. And the 4th one, they didn't want to do. Now, they were good with those 3, which was he had a respirator. Yeah. And I said, well, according to what I've learned, the respirator ain't doing that much. So can you kindly take it out?
Oh. They were like, oh, no.
No, we can't do that. No, we can't do that. And I go, I'm confused. Because we in the hospital. Yeah. If he needs it, I don't know, put it back. Oh, they didn't want to do that. But see, I adhere to a higher power, and so does he. Right. I went to my closet, the next chapter, power of prayer. You understand? And purpose. Right. And so I was in there like, I'm going to need you to figure this thing out and help me. I've said what I had to say, and that's it. Sean, less than 24 hours, the machine starts beeping. And the tech comes down and tells me, I don't know what to tell you, but let me try one more test. And in this last test, he realizes that the respirator had excavated itself. And I said, so now you can't tell me how long he's been breathing without it.
You got to take it out. You got to take it out.
And I want the doctor to get here now and take it out. Not just, we going to get to it. No. Right now. We walked out of there in 28 days with no device, and he turned 11 this year. You understand what I'm saying? Those are the kinds. That's what I'm saying. It's the storm. Now, I'm not going to say coming out of there I knew anything about what I was heading into because I didn't. So now I was facing the eye of the storm. But at least I came up out of there.
Right. You got yourself together. You hung on to, you know, the faith and the belief that number one, hey.
I started with my mindset, which was get it together, girl, get it together. You the mama. Then my words follow with, let me tell you what we're getting ready to do now. And then prayer, brought it on home. And then we were out of there. Now, there's always going to be something you're missing. And those were the things that I now was getting ready to learn because I didn't have it all.
So where do we go from there?
I know. We go home. And it is not easy.
And now...
I have a toddler.
Right.
I remember, real shaky marriage and husband. And a new baby that wasn't sleeping 15 minutes at any given time.
I would be all over the place. Yeah, a zombie. Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. I had to put my husband and I on shift changes. You got 8 hours, I got that 8 hours. And we rotated that for a while. You can do whatever you want to on your 8 hours off. You want to go to sleep, you want to go to the gym, whatever.
So he was dialed in for.
Well, yeah, he had to do something. He had to do something. But like I tell people all the time, here comes my math. If you ever heard and remember in math, where the positive and the negative come together, no matter how big the positive is, it's always a negative. So I decided to go get some professional help, and he didn't. So this stuff is eating away at us, and you don't know what's happening. So when my suicidal thoughts in my 6th week came up, and I was like, yes, I'm having suicidal thoughts. Yes, I was being very honest. And a lot of times, especially in our community, we do not. Right. So you already have the post from pregnancy, postpartum for normal babies.
Right.
Compound that with what I had, and I'm an explosive. I'm waiting to explode, and any and everything is just not good.
Yeah, because I've seen you turned up a little bit from time to time. It's some serious power behind that.
That's with thought.
And that's right. That's not even out of control.
That's not out of control.
That's controlled.
That was controlled. Out of control is what that situation was. So I go to the therapist, and I'm going to therapy, and from that I get, I'm just there and I'm talking, and I'm medicated too. So now the medication is keeping me from, going too far left, but I'm not functioning at the level I'm used to functioning. And so I go in for what I think is just a normal session. And she says to me, Bertina, you told me you used to travel a lot at one point. And I was like, yeah. And she says, well, I'm sure you remember the flight attendants telling you to put your air mask on first before you help somebody.
That's right.
Sean, honey child, that was the biggest explosion, thunder, lightning, boom, that I could have ever had, because I was like, aha.
The aha moment.
Aha.
I got it.
So much so I was like, this gonna be our last session, girl. I'm good. I was just like, because I'm good. I was like, if we do a wrap up.
That was the key.
That was the key for me. But remember, that was me getting sources. Yes, but that was also me reaching out for resources. See, that's what it says. Had I not reached out for those resources, I don't know that you'd be talking to me.
Yeah, you still be on that.
And me
roller coaster.
and the babies, no. I was taking me and the babies with me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's how far gone I was in my mind.
That was bad.
It was bad.
That was the. Would you say that's your lowest point?
That was my lowest point to think, because you always watch on TV somebody saying the mother drove the car in and did all these things, and you think, oh my God, never would I. See, never say never. That's one. And then two, my empathy and sympathy changed dramatically. Because see, now I can relate to them. Now I understand how you can slip into this unbeknownst to you, but if you don't have tools or way or reach out for real and get help, that's the same thing that happens in this real estate game. People don't reach out. They wait till it's so far gone, like these papers or these people coming after you for mortgage, money, and taxes is going to go away. It's not going to go away. You need to ask for help at the first sign. If you can,
don't wait till it's too late.
Don't wait till it's too late. Because see, a lot of people can't do what I did, which is pull themselves out of that point. Some people can.
And you really got to swallow your pride to even go.
Oh my gosh.
Get help, right?
Yes. For getting help and what may come after that. So, once I then have to break away with the divorce, then I have to go on aid. I have to get food stamps and money and try to find some place to live while I'm staying, in cousins' houses and, in rooms and stuff. Yeah. You can, that's why I said sometimes a book might have a beautiful cover, but you have no idea what's on the inside.
Yeah.
I call it invisible scars. See, when you've been in a car accident,
I don't see scars.
I don't see scars. That's why they're invisible. Invisible scars on the inside. Because if I was in a car accident or an explosion, you would have all the sympathy in the world for me if I was disfigured or missing an arm or in a wheelchair, because you could see the scar. See, there's so many people moving around in this world today that have these invisible scars at all kinds of levels that manifest in drugs and alcohol and physical abuse. Yeah, because you haven't dealt with it. Because hurt people hurt people. I know you wasn't ready for this.
I wasn't ready for that. But you know what? That really just put me in a thought process, right? Really, strikes a chord with me, because here in Chicago, all over the country, they talk about the violence here, right?
Yep.
And it just really, connects with me that you say hurt people. So these folks out here that are committing crimes and violence, I mean, are these people hurting?
So what I was saying before about legacy, and we were talking about the good legacy, then you also have the legacy of, this is the environment that I grew up in, and so I'm repeating that environment, and then my kids will repeat it too. So if I'm in an abuse, this is why they talk about how abused children, or if a wife was being abused, how then the daughter or the son then either take on those roles of being an abuser or being in relationships where they're okay with being abused, because what you see, you believe is okay, or is just the way it is, and you have no other way to get out, because that's all they know, and they have no way to get out. But that's what resources can do. That's when, if you are so low and down, and you're like, I don't know where to start or what to do. I have had enough people respond to me by reading this book and telling me how it has changed them. So I urge them that, if you can, get the book. But even if you can't buy it, see, I'm at the library. You can go check it out for free. Right. So that is why you don't have to have anything to get resources sometimes. They are there and they're free, but we don't use them.
And that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to do this channel. That's what the Blueprint is going to really put out to our community is, here's how we got here.
Yes.
And how do we change things moving forward?
Yeah. A lot of times people come on shows like yours, and all they talk about is the success and the this and the what, what I got and what I'm doing.
I just made $1 million today. Yeah, well, let's talk about them food stamps that you used to have back in the day.
Exactly.
And this link card that you keep selling on.
Absolutely. Or that I had to use. Or that you had to.
7,400.
Listen.
Y'all know what it is.
But you have to go through a process. See, even when you think about a book, you got to get to 15 by going through the first 14 chapters.
Yeah.
Sometimes people want it so quick. See, you have no idea what I've gone through to get to the day you see the success that I'm here. And I know you have a same success story, working out of a basement until you one building, and then you here, and this contract to that contract. It's a process. But some people don't see you or get to know you until your name is started off being all over the place. But they have no idea the blueprint, the one that you probably didn't even have.
I didn't have.
You didn't have a blueprint.
I didn't have one.
You didn't have one.
That's why we got to do this.
Exactly.
Right?
And then you come along, you successful, me moderately, and we come and we lay out the blueprint, and guess what somebody on here is going to say? Well, that ain't going to work for me. I can't do that. Well, that happened for them.
Right.
See, those become those words that they say in their mind, and then they convince themselves not to do it.
You don't even need haters. You hating on yourself.
You hating on yourself. Oh, can we talk about that? I got 5 distractors. It's written in the book. I got 5 distractors. I got them in my countdown order like they do on the night show, right? Number 5. Society and our community at whole. So when the community is saying, oh, well, you got to do this and you should do it that way. See, sometimes they don't even know who you are. And that this information they're giving you is provided on what basis? Their knowledge, their expertise or exposure.
Or lack thereof.
Or lack thereof most times.
Right.
Right? Something I done heard from Willie Mae somewhere, right? 4 are your friends.
Not my friends.
I know, right? I'm just saying.
Not my friends.
I'm just saying because you probably cleaned out. You probably cleaned out a few of the friends.
They cleaned themselves out.
But you get what I'm saying? Friends. 3, family, and by family I mean your immediate family, as in the mothers, fathers, uncles, maybe some brothers, sisters, those that do not live in your house. And then 2 are the ones that do live in your house. See, because they can say they support you, but then at every turn, they are not. Right. They are finding a way to keep you from the growth they see you doing so naturally. I had that. And then 1, the number 1 distractor to your success and wherever it is that you want to go, you said it, and that's you. Hence, the power of you. which is once you realize in some cases that if you focus on the fact that no one is you and that is your power, I don't need to try to be like somebody else. Who's being Bertina if I'm trying to be like Sean?
And the other distractors, they don't even come into play as long as you tap into the power of you and not hate on yourself, because now you're just walking through this storm regardless of who's there, what's in front of you, who's for you,
That's your
who's
blueprint.
against you.
Is that right? That's the blueprint you're working on. Sometimes we scratch our blueprints all the time, don't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, when you're in construction, we take a blueprint, we be like, you know what, that's not going to work. Right, we scratch that out, we take a red pen, we redo it. You understand what I'm saying? And what you got to, it's not going to be perfect. There's no sense in trying to look for perfection or having everything before you start. Sometimes you just need to start. Or as Steve Harvey said, jump. When the foundations are in line. See, I was easily to jump because what? No matter when the crises go up and down, I had that foundation of a degree that I could always get a job if I wanted one.
You had your foundation.
I had the foundation solid. See, it was solid. Resume solid.
So you're gonna land.
Well, right, when I jump, I'm gonna land. It ain't gonna be easy. I'm never gonna say it's an easy fall. I might, bust up a toe or twist the ankle or something. I get it back together.
You hurt.
I'm not gonna hurt. I'm gonna hurt for a little while, and then I'm gonna heal. Now, and when you start talking about healing, I have to say, before I forget though, life is not about waiting for storms to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. I have to say that after what
I've heard
you just
that.
said. Yes,
that
is one of my, that's another one of
Yeah.
my mantras and affirmations, right? Because see, I was in the storm.
Yeah.
But it's like, you can't wait for it to pass. You need to figure out how to learn how to dance in it. And that means adjustments and changes. And stop being friends with somebody and stop listening to your mother. Sometimes. I know that's a rough one. That's a rough one. I get it because I am a mama.
Don't make my mama come up here.
Listen, I am
my
a
mama
mama.
don't play.
Listen,
my
I am
mama
a
from
mama.
Alabama.
Listen.
She Alabama strong.
I'm a mother. Remember, that's what I said.
The power of mama.
Yes.
But what about the power of mama?
Mama powers are great. They are there to form and help. But then at some point, like if I'm 50, I should be able to say what I'm going to do.
Why
and
I got
not
to move
do.
out the basement, mama? Why I got to move out the basement? Look, I done fixed it all up for you. New drywall down here. Why I got to leave now? Why I got to leave now?
Go on ahead. Get your own stuff so that those rules
That dude ain't even my daddy.
Those rules do not even apply. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that's what it has to do. But the reality is when you are out on your own. I tease my sister all the time when she was younger. My younger sister, she was like, I'm grown. I go, remind me, who's paying your bills?
Right.
What roof do you have over your head on your own? Do you have your own job or form of income? Well, I don't know that you constitute that as being grown. That just means you are 22.
This new generation.
Oh, I know.
They don't. They'll tell you they ain't grown. Yeah. Can I have some money, please? I'm not grown. They got real hip to that. Okay. Yeah, you can keep that grown stuff and keep that dough rolling.
All right. Well, then that is. We contribute to that. Whoever
we
might
did.
Be, right.
They spoiled, and it's our fault.
We spoiled them because we spared the rod. Our generation didn't want the rod given out the way we got it.
I got the rod.
I got the rod.
I'm still crying. I'm still crying from the rod. I got the rod. I got the house shoe. I got the I got a little group. I got the switch.
That you went and picked off yourself and then pulled all the leaves.
Let me tell you something. My mama boxed. She called me up against the gate one time. Were you trying to run from me, boy? Bop, 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 bop. I was just slumped down. I was like, okay, I won't be running again. I'm going to just stand here and take it.
Listen, I've told my son, I will wear an orange jumpsuit for you, okay?
Right.
Don't be the reason I'm wearing the orange jumpsuit. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he knows my mama is a pistol carrying, knife wearing, like, don't play with me, boy.
Hurt people.
Hurt people. But see, I'm not hurt anymore, so I could.
And we don't want them hurt.
Yes, and you don't. But the reality is that up until a certain point, you have to realize you don't know what you don't know. Right. And so my blueprint, my experience, see, I'm a whatever that seeing so far into the future, like visionary. I can see my great grands in this scenario.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to tell you that what you're doing now, I'm trying to line you up for whatever it might look like detailed to you, but on the grander scale, the foundation for you to be able to have those options.
And as the mama, as the daddy, as even good stewards in our community, don't we feel like we should have a responsibility to do that? I mean, seeing the situation that we are in, why don't more of us feel that sense of responsibility that we need to put the best of us out there so that we can all partake in a better future for our young men and women?
I think because so many of them have either lived or heard from their parents, well, you go do it on your own. I did it on my own. So now that becomes a part of your DNA. So now what do I do for my child? Nothing. You need to go on and do it on your own. I did it on my own. So anything that you can think of that can be passed down, good or bad, all of it is a continuation. Sometimes there's one that breaks away from that pattern. They get a mentor.
Yeah.
They find resources and or online or on TV or in books. They go to a school and a counselor pulls them to the side. And, it always has got to be something that puts a spoke into that wheel that's continuously running like that.
Yeah, to stop
To
it.
stop it.
To stop it.
To stop it. And
So-
in doing so, redirects the future of that next generation down that way if, taking on. But we are not.
And that's that sense of responsibility,
Absolutely.
that action.
To yourself first.
Yeah,
They always tell you, how you going to be in a relationship if you don't got yourself together?
right.
How you going to think you're
You
going to be a
can't be
successful
ready.
business person if you don't have yourself together?
Right.
How do you think you're going to buy a house if you don't have your finances together?
Your finance.
Yeah,
Right.
yours. Because, see, I have this thing when I say, my money, my rules. So when somebody's going to borrow
That's
money.
the golden rule.
I know it is. So if you're going to borrow money to buy a house, then whatever I ask you for, whatever I need, and whatever I want, then you're going to have to provide it. So I'm unclear as to why you upset about what I'm requiring from you. That's some of my real estate learned lessons, okay?
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. And then as we talking about like taking care of yourself, one of the last chapters in the book is the power of self-care.
Okay.
I had lost my self-care in there. Like, I couldn't tell you when I ate, when I got dressed, took a shower, when I was dealing with the baby. You could get so caught into that rabbit hole is the best way I call it. I call it a rabbit hole. And how do you get out of it, right? So I was down in here, and that same message that I told you earlier when the woman told me, put your air mask on first, it translated to, Bertina, you need to get back to your way, your power, who you are, what makes you happy for your self-care or your self, relaxation, stress release, or whatever it might be, right? So that in that process, guess what you do? You get your mind right.
I was just going to
Yes.
finish your sentence.
I'm sorry.
You got to get your mind right.
It
No,
gets your
no.
mind
That's
right.
right there.
But-
We right there.
Yes, and that's why power mindset is the first one. See, it brings you back to this circle that says, get your mind right.
Because at the point that your mind right now, you can take action and move forward.
And remember, right, and action is, we were talking earlier about words and your mind, but then you got to get up and do something. You can't think that I'm just going to say it, write it down in the journal, and I'm done. No, that's a part of the process. That's a part of the blueprint to this. So I love your show and what this is about, because what this book does is give you all the areas. I found that some of the books gave you something about mind, or another one about self-care, another one about the words to say. But if you don't have the whole blueprint, that's like, I'm going to put in these electrical lights right now, but I didn't know how to put the foundation up. I don't know how to put the walls up. I don't know how to put drywall up. How you going to just go put the lights up? You can't. You have to have a blueprint. You have to have a process. You got to understand the big picture. And all of these things play their own part in that.
So what do you see as, one of the main takeaways that, your book really should be letting people know? We talked about that mindset being first.
Yeah.
But what are some of the other main takeaways that you really want people to connect with and walk away with understanding?
So one of the ones that I think is very important outside of mindset and the words and activation to doing so is the power of forgiveness. I know I always get a on that one.
Do you?
So, yeah,
You know what?
That's why I said it and gave me a pause.
That's gospel.
That's
gospel.
Listen, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You can't do all this stuff without some part of that. And some part of this forgiveness. So let's take, for example, if there was a parent or a spouse or somebody that was a cause to your storm or a continuous issue towards your growth, whatever it might be.
Right.
You have to turn around and not want to be mad at or regretful or vengeful or upset at this person. You need to stop and take a pause and say, this person, thoughts process behind this is because of their experience, their life, their situation led them to these thoughts. Well, mine are different. So what they're saying to me, I can forgive them. When my dad told me, I turned to him when I was on that hospital bed and said, Daddy, it can't be this bad. They just saying that. He said to me, it's usually worse. And you young enough, I wouldn't fight. Let the baby go because you can have more. See, I had to forgive him for those words.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because they could seem very hateful, but they were coming from where he didn't want or he thought for me, but he had no idea two things. He had no idea how this would change my world for me to even be here to be talking about something like this. And two, that within a few years I had a hysterectomy, never to have any babies again.
Wow.
See how people can say some things
yeah.
and never know. He didn't know.
know.
But so you have to forgive them.
You know, I'm sure he was.
That's what I say. It's coming
from a place of concern for you.
I know.
Right.
But I needed that storm. I needed the storm to grow to who I am.
Sometimes we can't get in the way of the storm and the lessons that other
we want to
people
go
need to
hide.
learn.
And we want to go hide. And I need to stand in the storm. I need to be outside, getting wet.
We need to talk about it. We need to deal with it. We need to have the tough conversations.
Because that's what hurt people. What I was telling you earlier.
Because we don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it.
We just continue to.
And we live with it.
Let
and we don't.
Things happen.
And we don't release it into self-care. We don't take care of replenishing us. We put gas in cars or we plug in cars. Whatever you do, something is going to need growth, water, food. You understand what I'm saying? You got to replenish it. Yeah. And so we have to do that too. That's why it's so very, very important. But it starts with you understanding this. You can love those individuals, but you have to know that you are you and no one is you, and that's your power. And sometimes the very things, as it was for me, I got ridiculed by my voice. I got ridiculed because of my height. I got, talked about for being so outgoing and personable. Those are the very things that are my continued success factors that are uniquely contributed to me. And so I have to say to myself, why try to fit in when I was born to stand out?
I love it.
You love it? Right.
Love it.
And people out there that are watching this need to understand that too. Yeah. Be you. Do you. Because in that authenticity.
Accept yourself, flaws and all.
All perfectly. Perfectly me and perfectly imperfect. That's how it goes, right? And a lot of times when we focus on all the negative, like what's happened to me in my world, right? See, that's what happened to most people that's out there. They're gonna focus on I this and the negative and never. Just stop, because you keep bringing that to you. If you turn the positive thoughts out there, then you're gonna bring that positivity to you.
So what is your vision of success that you just want to maybe just give to the community and folks out there listening? What do you want to leave them with as something to get out there and go do?
Well, I want them to first realize the actual title of the book, because in my mind it says it all. It's the power of you and how no one is you. And when you know that, then that's your power. So that you can get out there, find your purpose, ignite your passion, and then go step into it. Because when you step into that power, see, then all things, the vision, the light in the tunnel, you can see it, you can go, and it's going to be work. It's still going to be work, but you'll have a better sense of what that is, and you'll know that it's true to you. That's what it needs to be in the end, true to you.
Bertina Power, Power of You. Get this book.
It's a blueprint.
Of how to change your life. You stop finishing my sentences. You finishing my sentences.
I'm sorry.
I guess we here.
We are there, right? Which is good, which is why you invited me, and I thank you for that. So thanks for having me on the show.
And thanks for coming to the show.
Not a problem.
We'll see you again on The Blueprint to help light your way and give you the understanding of how to be successful in your life and in your future.
Bye.
Focus in the heat come. Concentrate to the sound of the beat drum. Start it up, take it back now. Check it out. This is how it's going down.